Welcome to all of you entrepreneurs and light workers tuning in. This is the 50 Entrepreneurs in 50 Days Abundance Mission. I am beyond excited to speak to my mate Adriana. So let's get into this divine rabbit hole immediately. Oh wait guys, make sure you hit subscribe so you get all of the gold coming out of the channel, all the knowledge from all of the light workers that we're interviewing on this channel who are leading the way, upgrading humanity through online business and the business world. All right, so Adriana, first things first. When I came across your Instagram, it was like the universe smacked me in the face and said, listen to this spirit. I'm all about energy, and I'm so super excited to have our first female guest and our first Aussie guest on here at the same time. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm super pumped. I'm pretty excited, and thank you so much for having me on here, and can't wait to share my wisdom.
I can't wait to hear it. So Adriana, first things first, I don't know if you realize it, but you know, your offer to send me that golden mica and tourmaline was just so generous. So I know what a beautiful, powerful soul that you are. But what about people who don't know you? Why should they listen to you?
Well, the reason why I reached out and wanted to send you that is because I believe, first of all, in energy exchange. Energy is, I guess, through all of us. So when you are gifting something from your heart, it always comes back in return. So energy exchanges energy. So why would people want to listen to me? I guess it's a great question because I have so many different avenues and so many life experiences, but what I am really passionate about is just calling out people's bullshit and speaking from the truth. Yeah,
That's what us Aussies do, right? Good God, this
absolutely.
stupid camera. Okay, well, is that your secret sauce, or is there something else that makes people choose you over the competition, Adriana?
I think people choose me because I'm authentic. I'm really authentic. What you see on camera is what you get in real life. There is no hidden agenda, and my purpose is always, even when people reach out for anything or they will DM me, I always respond. I always respond. I don't have the bots responding. It always comes from me because you just don't know when people need something, or it could be like a little advice, or it could be, let's have a 5 minute chat. And that could just save their life, their journey, where they're at. And my mission is to serve people. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I can't stand is these real preppy kind of influencer spiritual types that don't reply to people and like, I'm too important sort of things. Like that kind of defeats the purpose, right?
Absolutely. They all want to help, but there are so many systems in place rather than just being yourself. And I feel like if we as light workers are all here with the same mission, then universally, if everyone does that, I think it would create such a nice balance for everyone around the world, to be honest.
Yeah, and the more people the more spiritual people around in business, it gives more people more options, right? And they don't have to worry about, they'll find someone who's right for them. That's part of why we're doing this, is to, give people reliable sources, entrepreneurs who need advice, people who need business services, because there's a lot of people out there, right? So we want to put the human beings on here. So thank you for your humanity.
All right.
What can people, what are your main services, Adriana, and what can people expect when
Okay.
they work with you? What sort of transformation can they expect?
It really varies because often the way I showcase myself is a psychic medium because people generally are curious or they think they want to know but they don't want to know. So it's almost like a bite. Oh, is she the real deal? And then it goes all the way to the other side where I am actually working with CEOs of companies and helping getting their mindset right and straight and making sure that they are connecting to themselves. So I have people in marketing as well as authors, from insurance brokers, the list goes on. And I've worked with a lot of people internationally as well in that same level. So it's such a scope and sequence, but what I found where I work the most, and I think where my most passion is finding people reconnecting into their bodies and to gain their trust, or to say that I'm the real deal, is often through reading people in the first 5 seconds. So that's my secret sauce, what we were talking about earlier. So in the first 5 minutes of meeting someone, I can actually read your connections to people, and I read energetically what they like to, I said the world likes to call all the sentient. So I taste, feel, connect, and I call out, and I can see where your traumas are, and I like to rebuild your vessel. And I think that's what makes me different. And once you are fulfilled and your vessel is open for more abundance or for more energy inside, then you can shift off, and I've done my job, so to speak.
Oh God, well please don't read me at the moment, okay? There's just too much going on right now, okay? But
I try to, but I can already see a few little things in there going, your connection, if you don't mind me sharing, your connection with your mum is very strong compared to your father. So that's an automatic thing that I can see with people in the first 5 seconds. So
that's pretty fair.
yeah.
I do have a good connection with my dad, but he doesn't talk a lot. Let's put it this way.
No, it's more the emotional side and that maternal side, but there is, let's not go into that. I think that's something we can do off camera.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely be taking you up on that. So, the why, Adriana, why do you do it? Why do you do it? What do you see as your mission and your vision?
Okay, so why? It's a really good question again, because when I first was awoken, I was 5, and I didn't know what it was, and I just thought that's what everyone does. And I taken, I guess, life a little bit different to others. I can see things that people couldn't see. I can sense things from others that they couldn't see. And that was working against me for many years. I think up until my teens, I went into a real big depression, hated my existence. Like, most people want to learn and train and be this open, their, third eye business. And when you've already got it and you don't have anyone to talk to because you're shamed a lot, like that, we don't do that in our religion. We don't speak about this. It was really hard. And I think when I had children, and I'm a mother of 6 with 2 bonus children, so I've got 8. That was a big change for me when I started seeing things in my children that have picked up my energies, the same kind of magic source. And it was about then stepping up and guiding other people and going, okay, what is my mission? And it wasn't until probably in my early 20s, I had the opportunity to meet Wayne Dyer. It all happened to be, I think it was like a what if, it was like a conference, and I was just drawn to go. I was told to go because I'm clairaudient as well. So I had this thing where I'm connecting to people, and I didn't know who they were. And I happened to be in this one room, and I got to speak to them one-on-one. And it was Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, and the list would go on, like Doreen Virtue, all the Hay House members. And my mission was, why do I have this? Why am I so different? Almost like that cursed version.
Mm-hmm.
Can they tell me more? If they're in this spot, can they help me with this process? I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anyone that I could talk to. And what I learned over the time is that sometimes it is just what it is. And it was about building that strength within myself to say, it's okay to be different. It's okay to be different. And I think that's why I connect so well with my children. We have such a transparent relationship because we're all different. We're not meant to be the same, but it's how we deal with life is what makes us, I guess, learn from our experiences and be the best version of ourselves. So it was a massive journey. So when I connect with people and decided, well, what is it that it's my job? And everyone always says, God, you're full of energy. You're always so happy. You're full, you're buzzing. Where do you get that? And it's remembering to breathe and be in your body and remembering to be in the now and not worry so much in the past and focusing on too much on the future. And that's where all the anxiety and all that man-made stuff, all that business stuff gets into our heads and we can't function. So what I'm really good and really gifted at, people want to see me, I will help you get back into your body really quickly and really expand your energy and to be able to live your best life.
When you say get back into your body,
Mm-hmm.
like, can you unwrap that a little bit for
Yeah,
me?
sure. So when I see people, I actually see when people have, so I can actually see within your body straight away when people see me visually, like face to face, or whether they see me online. So I can see when people have ups and downs, depression, and what happens is within our auric field, we have different layers. So when I see people, I see you in your whole existence, your whole auric field, which sounds crazy to some, but it's my normal. And then I can go, oh, okay, this is where haven't been really connected. And that's when I start scribing and I get paper to pen and I can start journaling where your life has kind of needed that puttying. So I help people put, I guess the best way I can describe this is plugging the holes in your auric field so you're not seeping out energy. So when people are so exhausted and tired and woe is me and they keep repeating the same patterns, I put you back together, I putty you back up, shrink your traumas. We never get rid of there's good and bad traumas and memories. We never get rid of them, but I can help you shrink them and go, okay, that's not all of me, that's just a part of me to make me who I am today. And we use that to our best advantage to be able to move forward. So when I see people, I can actually physically see, if people are ill, if that's what they need me to translate. And sometimes it's people who have passed. So I never know what I'm going to get. I don't research people. I'm not interested in all that extra energy. Like I would meditate beforehand if I've got an online call from interstate, just so I can tune into the vibration because I have permission to. And once they jump on, it's like, wow, okay. So I had, if you don't mind me sharing, I had this girl who has an alias. Yeah, she has an alias name because it's not part of her religion. And she wanted to have a psychic reading that was not bullshit. Okay, so it was not like just, look, I'm a great believer in everyone holds a modality that's best for them, that helps us balance the earth. Okay, we all have it within us. Just some have something a little bit more saucier than others, right? So she was looking for a little bit more saucy. And I said to her, look, you don't have to pay me. I'm happy not to take any payment, but I want to help you. Is this what you're looking for? And within the first 5 minutes, she goes, not even, she goes, shit, you are the real deal. So it was a matter of her opening up to her existence and reading what she needed. And that was to do more work in this modality. And I haven't really opened up, I guess, a lot to teach what I do because I've kind of gone backwards. Like I was born with it. I didn't learn it and then create a program. And now I'm going to teach you. It's me teaching you where you're at to help you harness your own skills to be the best version or the best teacher for you. So that's what I do. That's kind of evolved into that, another substream of what I guess the universe has been asking of me to do. And it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And so how does unaddressed trauma or unaddressed issues or locked up energy hold us back?
Oh, completely. So what happens is, and how I generate this, because I don't know who the person is, like that you can't research that information. You can't go in and go, oh, I'm going to Google and spend hours finding about this person. What happens is when we go through this, I have a standard scribe that I do. And then as I'm clairaudient and when I'm connecting, the way I like to describe my work is if you imagine a golden thread between me. So now you and I had a few interactions. We have already created an energetic loop, right? And I have got permission from you in this energetic loop that keeps feeding me information about who you are. So when I've asked for permission, which we have, I start scribing and numbers come up. and these numbers come up in your life pattern. So, for example, if I was to say, if I can use you, have permission to use you just for one
Hmm.
example,
Yeah, yeah,
and
go for it.
yeah, okay, so, and I don't know, I don't have my paper, but I'm just going to use my hand just as my visual and say to you, okay, automatically I can see at the age of 14 that was a big trauma around your body. Okay, so that was a big life changing for you. But I can go as back as the age of 8 as well. That also links. So then I start linking different time frames. So automatically I'll go, okay, there's 14, 17. And if I keep writing them on, I'll go, okay, 21. Oh, awesome, 23. So you, what I would call you as a multiple trauma, I guess, holes around your body. And I start working with that person or with yourself, and we'll go back and I'll say, okay, what's happened in this area to create where you're at? Or, and if they go, I don't know, I can hear them and they'll tell me it's this and this and this. And then it will jog your memory and you go, actually, yeah, that's right. And then what we'll do is we might go through like a meditation and healing for you on this side, and make sure that, that's just the start, because it's not a one-stop shop. We're forever evolving and growing and changing. I don't love to spend your whole life on your trauma based. It's just a part of you, but it just gets me to see you, your whole vessel on earth as a life experience, to help you kind of go, okay, this is what it is. This is what shaped you. Now that we've got that, let's see what we can do to love and bless and release, unshackle. And sometimes I see shackles on people's heart centers, which is just the worst I've seen is a double heart like shackle. And what that is, the way I see it, envision it in people, is when they close themselves up to love. And love is such a big vibration for me, what I work with, and I stabilize myself at a love frequency. That they have this love for the people that they love the most dearly, perhaps their children, their wife, themselves, not necessarily parents, which is people are like, oh, it's the people that they will die for, that they don't want to show or harness anything to. And then what happens is, then there's this shackle where mums like this, like, the best way is that shackle. That's all I can describe it as. It's like this hard metal that sits around the heart space, and then everyone else around it. And then they've got it, like, that's where the parents might sit or the siblings might be. And then I see another one, which is everyone else. So people can't really see the real you because you've never really authentically lived your best life. So once people get to that center, it just kind of goes, okay, let's start unshackling, so you can create boundaries of living your best life, your best version of who you are as a person, without giving away your power, and still be able to speak from your existence and your truth, without the worries of building up fortresses so you can't breathe and exist in this existence.
Wow, that sounds really freeing.
Yeah.
What happens if you see trauma? Like, the reason I'm interested in trauma is because, yes, I have suffered it.
We
And
all at some point, and those that are awakened tend to have gone through trauma.
yeah, and I just feel like it's a really important issue, at least for me, because, addressing significant losses in life, especially when you're younger, and we've only, I guess, started to evolve really quickly as a species, I think, in the last probably, maybe 20 years. But until then, especially men, you couldn't cry and things like that. It wasn't really, you know, accepted as a man to cry. And, so like I lost my brother at 18, had to be the man of the house, like the strong one. But I just feel like unless, and I've since kind of done a lot of work on trauma. And to me, my belief is if you don't deal with that at the time and integrate it, like feel it because it hurts a lot. but it hurts probably more than if you're trying to push that pain away. But if you push it away at the time, it kind of just keeps coming up. And
And yeah, men are my biggest. It's evolved where I initially believed that working with women was my greatest calling. That was probably 5 years ago, and I still work with women greatly. But once it's really funny because once I'm working with, for example, their wives, the husbands are like, "What is happening to you? Why have you changed so much?" And then the husbands come in and they start doing their breakthrough, and it's just amazing at allowing them and giving them permission to be authentically themselves and feel the feels. That's what I like to call it to them, to the men. Feel your feels, because that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to be feeling it. We might not like it, and I tell my children all the time, well, you might not like it, you want to escape it, but you need to feel it in order to acknowledge that it means something to you.
yeah, and like I don't know, yeah, for everything I've learned, it's like if you don't integrate it, it just keeps rearing its ugly head. It gets worse and worse. You push it away and away. You block yourself up, block off energy and stuff like that. So, yeah, everything I've learned about it, but I don't want to stick on trauma too long. I do have one more question though. What about someone who doesn't want to address it at all? Like just think,
Oh, it's really
they've
good.
had a significant event, but they've just
Oh,
shut
it's a really good one because I've had a few people who have come around that want to do work, but they are either too scared that I'm going to read into them too much with respect, which is kind of contradictory when they want to come and see me. It's like they want to see, but they don't want to know. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Another version when people they basically say, I want you to help me, because what I do is I get you on the table and I expand your energy on your body to help them breathe a little bit better, but I don't want to do anything else. And that's okay too. They have their own respect in their mind, and I think a lot of that has to do with trust. And when someone has been through trauma or can't deal with their own emotions, what I always use the analogy of, imagine a vase in your body, in the center of your body system, and you keep shoving, women are so good at this, shoving so much emotion and anger and hate and a lot of, why did you do that? Because they've been taught not to speak up. Our generation is, don't speak up for yourself, don't speak your truth. Good girls don't speak their truth. So what happens is finally they get bubbled up and they explode a lot. You know, the men have these jokes, that, oh, she's just having a bad day. Oh, that's just her PMS, or that's just her. It's literally trauma seeping through the seams because they can't express themselves because they haven't been taught how, and to acknowledge how to actually do that. So it's quite funny when people do come to me and they don't want to, and they, you know, like, I don't know how to deal with this. It's often the people that need it the most. Often need it the most, but they don't know how to or where to look for because that's their norm. Yeah.
Okay, really interesting. Okay, so what do you say to people who roll their eyes and say, ugh, another woo-woo guru promising enlightenment? How do you make them sit up and take notice?
I laugh with them because I was the same one going, I didn't actually know that I was the woo person because I'm the one I thought I'm normal and they're not normal. So it's quite contradictory when they go woo. I'm like, say, who's woo? What are you talking about? I'm just feeling the feels. I'm just full of energy. And I think you really need to, you know, those people that call me the woo are the ones that are scared of living their best life and their full existence and are running away from the truth. So it's really funny when they do say that because no one else exists around them, you know, except themselves, but they don't actually put themselves first. So they live their lives for everyone else but themselves. So when people say your woo stuff, I say, oh, welcome. This is me. This is all of me. I'm a great person, just like you are.
Yeah,
And
and yeah, it's just like the business world, everyone's, you know, like all the business people are the black sheep anyway. Like, do you know what I mean?
absolutely. I think the corporate people are the funniest. Like they need to have such a masculine energy, especially for women. They have to be so strong and they have to do in order to hit the hierarchy. So men are listening to them. We have to be strong. But What I love teaching the women is that you can be so strong in your boundaries. Once you know what your boundaries are, no one can walk all over them. And you can be so feminine. And yes, there is room for 9 to 5 masculinity. Absolutely. But there needs to be I guess, an even bond between feminine and masculine energy together. And that's how I see people within their bodies of like a double helix or a 3 helixed kind of link within our bodies. And when women are do, and men are like, oh, wow, she's got something to say, rather than being a little bit more leaning back, very feminine, and say, well, I actually just don't agree with that, and standing and having that point. I often use that in my marriage with my husband. You know, I don't make any decisions. What's for dinner? If it's his night to choose, I don't get involved. I actually allow the man to do the leading, because the man that's evolved as the chaser, and us as women are the feminine who want to receive. So when we finish our 9 to 5 and we're at home, it's not do. It's me trying to switch into that role of the feminine energy that a lot of households have a lot of trouble doing, especially the corporates. They just delegate everything at home.
Yeah, and then there's this like I hope I'm not going to upset people here, but this whole wokeist movement where everything's just toxic masculinity,
Mm,
it just shuts down the conversation. I don't believe it's real feminism because men and women have to coexist, right? It's just the
really?
reality of life. You start calling a male toxic, like, do you know what I mean? Like the amount of people online that have called me toxic just because. I don't actually think that's okay what you're saying.
Mm,
Like, oh, now you're abusing like it's like no, we're not. We're not abusing a woman.
no.
You're abusing me. You're calling me toxic. You're telling males that they're toxic. There's this whole woke movement like that's like
But if you were,
we
if
get it.
they,
We know,
yeah,
right? Most males don't want a submissive woman like that. That's just that's nonsense. My wife is not submissive at all. She's
you
a
want the change,
powerful person.
you want the change.
That's who I respect. That's why I respect her. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
think that there's just this myth out there that males are just these horrible people that just want to have sex all the time, and
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just nonsense for anyone. Like you talk to any one of my family members, and I've got 9 siblings, and it's
yeah,
like happy wife, happy life, mate. Do you know what I mean? We're all just like that. Happy wife, happy life. Yeah, we
yeah.
don't want to argue too much. We want to be happy. We want to be the protector. Sometimes we fail at that. We're not very good openly, but
That's where the magic is, and this is where people come and see me. When the relationships, when they starting to identify the woman, it's really funny when their kids start growing up and they're a bit older and they have more time for themselves. They're a bit lost, like, oh, and their relationships are so stagnant. Energetically, it gets confusing. So when I see these locks in women or the double helixes, it's because I'm real, like their minds switch off and they're really good at parenting because they've had to, it's like in an innate role that we've got. And then you have to go back to the husband and there's that lost disconnect. Like, oh, I'm not what I was 20 years ago. My body's not the same. I'm not the same. I've evolved. Yet women look at men going, well, you haven't changed your pant size 50 times. Your body hasn't fluctuated. You're still going to work doing exactly the same thing. But we're stuck with all these changes, yet we're supposed to be loving and fun and exciting. And women don't know how to do that. So that's one of my programs that I run called the Awaken Heroine, and I wrote that based on women learning and loving themselves and making themselves a priority so they can feel their authentic selves. So when they are with their husbands or partners or friends or looking for love, that they stay true to themselves, what they've lost over time. So women over 35 and above is predominantly where I do most of my work. So it's really
yeah, and
interesting.
that's important because I think the main thing with everything is a communication breakdown. People not feeling heard, and not effective communication methods. Like where it's like people are just digging at each other. You're meant to love each other. You're just digging at each other. So
Learning to disagree to disagree.
Yeah, and but yeah, it's like I'm not doing it to you. I'm not trying to hurt you deliberately by saying stuff. You know what I mean? Tony Robbins is good at he says something about that. I can't remember quite what it is. But some people think mediums just say vague stuff and that fits everyone. What's your mic drop moment that shuts down every skeptic in the room?
I'll be honest, there are some mediums that are really authentic and really real because they have spent their time evolving and creating their own method that works for them to be able to connect to people or creating a weave. There are people that are learning or beginning or starting to step into, I guess, mediumship that want it so badly that it's not really authentic. So it's both on both sides. And that's what I like to call the learners versus the ones that were born with it. There is both, and to be mindful about, what are you actually searching for when you're looking for people, when you're looking for advice, or, I tend to say and always have a disclaimer, pick what you want, throw out the rest. You are the master and the destined for your own life. And if you hear someone tell you that, then okay, they might have a little bit of truth in the source, that you can change your direction. And a medium can kind of help you connect, whether it's with a past loved one. And you know what? Sometimes even when you go to a medium to connect with someone who's passed, it sometimes doesn't always happen. Right? It sometimes doesn't always happen. So I used to back away from doing a lot of mediumship work because I was like frightened. Imagine they're coming and I'm like, hello, no one's there. How can I help you? That would always get me really anxious because your proof is in the pudding. And then I realized, well, if it's meant to be for the person, they're going to hear what they need to hear. And I had a client who came to see me, a man. I love men because they're very, very skeptical. He noticed his wife were changing. And within the first 5 minutes, and I had no idea about his background or anything like that. And the way I got his trust was that his mum was coming through, but I didn't know she passes. And this is a really funny thing with me. I can see people as though they're still here. So when people say I see ghosts and things, it's not necessarily like that. It's the energy, though. Once they come through, I can describe somebody. I go, oh, they look like this. And they, you can get really detailed. And when I spoke to him about his mum, it wasn't really his mum that really was the important part of the conversation, was his friend who passed. And I said, listen, he said he passed really quickly, and his name starts with J, because he just kept showing me the person who passed. And I said, I don't know, I couldn't know that. And he just froze and he goes, shit, this has been weighing on my heart for the last year. And his dear friend passed away who he looked at like a brother. So, things come in different ways. So people who see things as mediumships don't feel like they may not be the real thing. Sometimes they don't always come through the way you want it to be. And some people are just gifted in that specific. And if they show that they are just the mediumship, if they can connect with people who've passed, then I would go specifically to that person. Whereas someone comes to me looking for that specifically, I can't promise them that because I see you as a whole human and everything around you. So we have different modalities. So look at what you're looking for, be very specific.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think we don't some of these questions you're answering already, so I'll move through one or two of them.
Sure.
Some people say I don't have time for all this inner work. I'm too busy paying bills. What's your take on making spirituality work in the real world?
Stop running away from yourself. Stop running away from the truth. And the truth is people don't want spirituality because they're scared that, one, it goes against their religion. Two, you're going to find them exactly the truth of their, what they're really hurting about, what they haven't been able to voice about. So those of them that are really busy Go and, they laugh, like, go and meditate. I literally say to people, those who've never meditated before, and that's really helps you get into your body, really stepping into your body. You can be in a form of meditation by even brushing your teeth. That same circular motion and that rhythm for the first 2 minutes is a type of routine and a type of structure, quieting your mind. That's as simple as a meditation routine. Those who say, I'm not interested in anything or doing things like that, you taking the time of having your cup of coffee and watching the sunrise in quiet space is a form of meditation and getting into your body. So it doesn't have to be sitting there like a Himalayan monk, and chanting. It's in so many different ways. Though I do that for myself, where I have a routine in the morning. I have my journal on the side. I speak to my spirit guides every day, and I say, well, what is it today? I connect to my North Star. I have a ritual that I do every single morning, and then I start my day. So then I can feel like I'm in my body. That's what I did this morning. So I was like, oh, knowing what's happening.
I do the same. I have my mentor gave me a standard daily operations procedure, and anytime I move off of it, and that includes meditation, prayer, visualization, manifestation, mirror work, affirmations. I do the macabre every morning, although I don't know whether I'm doing that properly or not, so I asked for a bit of help today. But yeah, like, you don't have to, like, for me personally, I have a little 2 minute meditation that I do in the afternoon, like just a little 2 minuter. It doesn't have to be any more than that. Um, and it's so powerful, like, because you can meditate in the morning and then you can be, life gets in the way and there's a lot of stuff that goes on between the morning and the afternoon. So it's really important to have that, I think, that second session or some sort of wind down routine.
Absolutely. I as a school teacher for so many years, actually my 20th year of teaching younger kids, I teach them to be open and to receive. So I integrate that into their morning routine where they come back from play and they open their hands to receive, and I put some music on and be grateful for their interactions with their friends. So, I think it's really important. It doesn't matter how old you are to take that time out. And yeah.
Mindfulness, what do you, yeah. I can only speak for myself, but like, if I don't meditate, I feel crap. Do you know what I mean? So, and if I don't go out, do my walk in the morning, do my routine, I'm just not as productive, and I'm not as happy. I'm just like, you realize you've just been more irritated throughout the day, snappy, like, just the computer upsets you more, things like that. So let's talk about fear. How do you help people face the fear of the unknown or the fear of what they might discover about themselves?
That's a really good one, because I teach them not to look too much ahead, because that's what creates the fear and the anxiety, about how they can center themselves within themselves in the now. I guess when people say, "Oh, I want to see you, but I don't want to know when I'm dying," that fear, I'm like, I don't want to know when you're dying either. That's not something I want to know. And I don't want to ask. I've done many work where I've helped people cross over, or people have come to see me as they're crossing over. So the fear of really the unknown is if the real cause of those fearness is, have they done enough in their life? That's where the fear comes in. Have I done enough? And that opens up that whole can of worms. And well, let's break that down. And then we have a nice conversation about what fear looks like for them, because fear looks different to everybody. I mean, people who pass, or what time are like, when am I going to die? That's just such an extreme fear, rather than everyone has their time. Everyone has their time, and you got to live your best life existence on this earth as an earth person, as an earth being, because our life is so amazing on the other side. So it's really interesting and how to conquer that. I don't think you can. I think that there's only so much one person can do, but there are so many modalities that everyone else can bring into their life. And if they're open to it, then they can step in and start doing some other work that will might help ease that, you know. What I've learned is that I can't save everybody. And
Yeah.
that's been a big one. I can't save everyone. You have to want to save yourself first and take the first step. Because if you know within you that there is something not right, the first thing is trying to, and sometimes people can't even see that there is something not right, or they don't even want to listen. All you can do is give them love, because love, if you're showing love, people can't get angry at you, right? So even when they're so heightened, if you're giving someone a smile when they're frustrated, doesn't mean they can't be angry at you. And that's why people are
Oh,
saying,
agreed.
you
Like
know,
I'm a bad driver. Like I admit it. Okay, I'm a bad driver, and I get to these moments where I upset people on the road, and I just give them a. I'm like, yeah, no, I know I'm a bad driver, and they're like, hey, hey, yeah, that's all right. They just move on. And like,
exactly.
and if you smile at someone, you can actually make someone who's frowning just switch on with a smile. That's one of the things I really love to do. Go out walking around, even if they don't talk to you, you say hello. Like I like
And that
doing that.
awkward, hi, and they're like, and you're like, have a beautiful day in your
Yeah,
heart.
but it changes, and you smile at people. It just people think you can't change the world, and I think you can with one smile. Um, All right, well let's move on to the from the doubters, okay? But I like to get that out, Adriana, because people want to ask the questions, and they should get those questions asked for them. Um, all right, so if you could go back and give one message to the version of yourself who doubted your gift, what would it be, and what do you think they'd say back to you?
Just look within you. Just look within you and come from a place of love, because love conquers everything. Forgiveness, love, and happiness and joy is the most fundamental place of your existence. Don't worry about the rest. You work it out.
So simple but so powerful. And what's the most heart-wrenching moment someone trusted you with? Let me read this again. What's the most heart-wrenching moment when someone trusted you with their pain? And how does that compare to the truth?
Mm,
Sorry, I'm having a bit of a dyslexic moment here.
okay.
What's the most heart-wrenching moment someone trusted you with their pain, and how did it change your understanding of what you do?
I think one of the hardest moments that I've ever had was going through a divorce. And that was like when I was in the pits of, I handled it really well. Like I have a great relationship with my ex-husband now and always have had. Even though he didn't do the best things for me during those times, and he really hurt me, and I was in such pits of devastation, just so hurt, and then having a client come in and they're grieving because their husband has left. So I'm still holding this hurt, yet I have to put myself, my existence on hold and serve others, because that's what I'm here to do. And really enhancing them to do exactly what I was doing, and remembering and telling them that it is not your journey to solve other people's problems, or not your journey, it is their journey, and their journey is what they're going to live out through for the rest of their lives. That it's got nothing to do with you. You are who you are as a person. And I feel that that was really hard. That was a really hard moment for me, and something that I really push when I teach other people, that I really do believe in that when my husband left, it's got nothing to do with me. Yes, I was part of this marriage and I owned 50% of that. Absolutely. I was straight to the point, but I didn't accept that he had another, you know, all the infidelities that he did have during my marriage. I don't own that. That's his truth. That's not got nothing to do with me and who I am as a person, and no one deserves that. So teaching other women or that person that came to me during that time to say is that you just need to focus on who you are, and that's to be a loving human, a forgiving person, because that helps you through your traumas and pain. Doesn't mean that we like it, doesn't mean that we have to accept it, but we have to feel the feels and disconnect yourself from how that's happened to you to what is going to happen to you in the future. That is their journey, that is their life, and that's how they chose to live their life. And you are in charge of your life, and you can live your life the way you choose to. And that's, I guess, why honesty and integrity is so important to me and the work that I do, because I'm extremely honest and I'm loving and caring and kind, because I know my self-worth and who I am as a person. And it doesn't matter whether it's a client or a child, I present exactly the same. And I think that was really, really tough for me, really hard. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Sorry.
Jesus. Very powerful and a little bit moving. Try not to tear up here. All right, let's move past the tear jerkers.
Bit of fun.
One more thing. If you could thank one person who believed in you and when no one else did, who would it be?
My ex.
How has their belief shaped the way you guide others?
It was my ex-husband. It was my ex-husband from the get-go. It was the day we met. He was like, you. Yes, we had lots of networking events where I would work with him and I'd be like, don't trust this person. They only want your money. No, they are into fraud. Or she just wants to sleep with you. Even though we had those conversations, he encouraged me because he believed in me when no one else did. My family didn't. They would make fun of me. I was a joke. I was an embarrassment. I don't think I really voiced out what I do up until last year, like really authentically raw. This is me and this is what I do. And he still is my biggest fan. He says, you can talk all the shit about me because it's true. It's not because it's not a lie, it's true. It's made you who you are, but everything, doesn't matter whether it's, you know, opening up my studio last year, he came to see it and he loved it. And he said, I knew you could do this. He's always been, you know, I'm married and I have an amazing husband who is my biggest. He doesn't understand the woo. He gets it. He's getting it. But it's quite funny. It's the different parallel. The person who hurt me the most is my biggest fan and the biggest supporter. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have seen Wayne Dyer. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have traveled to Egypt and spent 3 weeks when I had 3 children under the age of 4 at home when he took care of them so I can go to every single temple in Egypt. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be, you know, a Reiki master all those years ago and trying to find out why I have what I have. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have that confidence to say that I am normal when I thought I was completely messed up.
That's very, very big for you to say that. Wow. Like, that's really strong. That's probably what I think just makes you the real deal, Adriana. The ability to say something like that, I think that's you right there. So what's the deal with people who are ready to take action right now? You know, the one saying, you know, take me to the light, you know, what's in it for them? And why is now the time that their entire life shifts?
You know, if they have been holding themselves back because they haven't had an opportunity or they didn't know who they can actually trust or go to, or that will tell them straight. It's not airy-fairy. There is a bit of airy-fairy sometimes. We do a lot of meditation, a lot of work together, a lot of clearing energy. But if you are after a real massive shift, I do have a one-on-one work that I do with people, with clients that are wanting an automatic shift. So that is what I call the awakened heroine, which has kind of evolved into masculine and feminine energy. So it doesn't matter whether you're a male or female, it still applies to you. or whether you can't afford to work with me one-on-one, I have a place called the Celestial Tribe, and you can find me on Instagram, Adriana Amplifies Energy. And in there is a little click feed. You can click into it and you can join my group for as little as $8 a month, which is insane. And I've done that because everyone says, why are you doing that? Because it's a no-brainer, and we should have a community where we all feel safe, or we want to learn a little bit about energy when you have no idea about energy. It was predominantly made for that, where we can be ourselves. There are workshops in there. There are an actual template that I hand out every single month, and it's so detailed. There is astrology, forecasts, what I project for the month, what I channel in. There is full moons, there is feng shui, there are affirmations in there that embodies the energy that we're currently sitting in. There are also rituals in there to enhance it. There's journal prompting, and every month is different. And there are 3 tiers in that too. So you could go fully extreme, which is the most in there, where crystals get sent to your home to help you harness that energy. Or you can go and just be grateful and immerse yourself in all those workshops and still be part of the group as little as $8. So it's pretty cool.
Amazing. So guys, get down the description at the bottom if you want to get involved in that group. Everything's going to be down there about where to get in touch with Adriana. Let's finish this off with a bit of humor, Adriana. First of all, do you think 2023 was just the year that everyone had a shit year or not? Because
it was so epically shit.
Yeah, like what's the go with that? Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like it was one of those.
It was retrograde. It was the retrograde just playing with our minds. It was all about ups and downs. It was about how you're going to navigate it. And on top of it, it was a super fast year. So by the time you got over the storm, it was like, boom, you got hit with something else. And then you got over that one, it was like, boom, you got hit with something else. And it just kept imploding. And we also had portals that were opened every single month. So from July onwards was like mega portal, which was amplifying that energy, hence my name. And it just made everyone teary one week, and next week they're all happy. And then within a few days later, they're tearing up again. And that's got a lot to do with the moon cycles. It's got a lot to do with the portals that we're opening.
What are portals? Portals. Talk to me about portals.
So portals, we have portals in numerology that is linked to your amplifying your energy. So for example, we've had at the end of December last year, we had 2 new moons in the same month, which is quite cool. So a new moon is about bringing good energy in. As we're rolling into the new year, what everyone on earth, what I like to call muggles, I like to call the new year, first of the first opens up another portal, which is new beginnings, new start. It was the year of it's the year of the 9, which is the ending of the new beginning. So the portals open up where I would do, for example, at 1 o'clock at or 1 a.m. And do some work, which is all about, at this stage, was all about business and really opening up those energy fields about manifestation. And I'm a law of attraction coach, so it's all about opening up energy fields and what is that your heart desires, where do you want to go, what does that look like for you. I have a video that's in my Celestial Tribe about what if you could be your best version of yourself. And those portals actually help amplify the energy when you're wanting to manifest. So yeah, it's really epic. And when you're doing work within your body, like that vessel thing that we were talking about, like clearing and covering, when you're manifesting and wanting yourself to really grow and expand your energy, that's so potent. Our new year always starts in November. So never starts in January, because 1111 is 111 of new beginnings. So when you start an 1111 portal and open that energy up, you are moved over and you have a integrated part of 11 to really solidify where is that you want to take your next journey in life. But I could talk about that for days. So that's all in that Celestial Tribe. It's pretty cool.
Oh man, I could talk about 111 like crazily, freakishly. Like when I started noticing it, I don't know, maybe if I'm looking for it, but I have like literal evidence of this stuff coming up. Like
It's you're on
Like,
the right path. You are so on the right path. Keep doing what you are doing. That's what it's solidifying, but it's also reminding you that you got some work to do. So keep doing it in order for it to project, or else you're going to be left behind. This year's moving pretty quick. So if you think last year was crazy, buckle up.
yeah, and I don't know if anyone who goes to watch Mufasa, I don't know whether that movie was made to speak to me or something, but there was just like all these lessons in it that I was picking up on, and then there was like this peak moment where it's like, how does it go? It goes, oh, the earth will shake before the new day dawns or something, and then what, like, it just goes, and cards like 1111 on the tree, and I was just like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
There is messages.
You start seeing it everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so let's finish it off. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, Adriana. I absolutely love your energy. I can feel the authenticity. Look, if your work as a medium, you don't have to answer any of these if you don't want. Okay. If your work as a medium had a Tinder bio, what would it say under turn-ons and deal breakers?
Yeah.
And don't just say good vibes, all right?
No. Turn on. Okay. If I was medium, you'd have to have lovely thighs. That's my turn on. Good thighs.
Wow, love it.
Right. Yeah, that's and what was the other one? Sorry.
Deal breaker, deal
A
breaker.
deal breaker. Those who lie, because I can see through your shit. I'm a human lie detector, so I can call bullshit pretty quick.
Every single person that's been asked that question, the question on this show says that, and that's what like it's the first thing. Don't lie. Even my dad belted me hard when I lied to him once about these marbles I found, like back in the day, you
Yeah.
know, and like he was like, Rory, I trust a murderer over a liar.
Yeah, absolutely. I can just call it. There's called stretching the truth, which we can deal with as mediums or energy beings. But then when you lie, it's almost like, yeah, you've had your chance. Sorry.
What's the worst spiritual advice you've ever heard? Like the kind that makes you want to question humanity.
Okay, the worst I've ever had.
Heard.
Heard? Oh,
Yeah.
one I've never heard. Oh, that's a real tricky one because it's really hard when you're believing in something you call their shit. Um, I've had one. I love. He's a little bit of a thing. I love getting my cards read by other people. It's a bit sneaky because I can already read what's happening, right? So
Yeah.
I love doing it because I want to see how much they've evolved and whether they are the real deal. So I love to see it. And then there was one lady who was doing my card reading and it was completely wrong. And she was like really like trying her very best to the point, probably not on the same path, but I went in and helped her and I said, see this over here? If you just use this and feel this is actually what this means. And she's like, I was having trouble with that. I'm just new at this. And that's just a tarot reader, which is totally different to mediumships and everything else. But I just thought it was so funny. It was like the worst literally advice. I was just like, yeah, that doesn't actually mean that. But, I love that you tried.
That's just to me. That's dangerous. Okay.
When you're
Um,
dealing with other people's life, it is.
if someone walked into your session and asked you if you could channel their if you could channel their goldfish, what would you say and how would you keep a straight face?
I would say I can channel your dog. I could even channel your cat. Goldfish, probably not because I spend a lot of time in the sewer and I don't deal with shit. So probably not.
Yeah. Plus, goldfish forget everything all the time, right? So they
Absolutely.
wouldn't know if you were
Completely.
channeling
They
them.
can't hold any memory whatsoever. So
And what's one of the weirdest messages you've ever received from the other side? Like so strange that you had to double check if you were being pranked.
okay. I'll try and make this quick, but I've never ever, here's the truth, never ever 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 had asked about my spirit guides and who they are up until last year. Ever. And I thought, because I'm from the other side where people are learning it and I've always had it, maybe I should, right?
Yeah.
I keeps talking about it, so let me, I don't know, I've always just meditated and spoken to them, and I love them for who they are, and they've always helped me throughout my life. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm going to ask you through one meditation session. And I said, I'm going to ask you, can you please tell me what are your names? And I'll share one name. One name was Alula, right?
Yeah.
And I laughed, and I actually laughed out loud. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but like, really? Like, no, Jim, John, Smith, give me something.
Yeah.
Jessica, Alula, like, what the hell? And I said, okay, I gave thanks. And I'm like, this is not for real. Like, you doubt yourself. Like, you're like, come on. So I started doing some research, and I found out that Alula is an actual ancient name from 4,000 years ago plus that ran in, I think it's in Saudi Arabia, that runs, they have now, if you Google it, you could actually find the spot where they run retreats. And it's actually a temple that was run by women, funny enough, that run women's circles, that is actually stated on there. And then I did a lot of, I'm so sorry, that you are the real deal. And that's why I opened up my centre and created women's circles. That is starting next week. So I'm pretty excited because I've been pushed to do so and help other women connect to their truth. So isn't that crazy?
Well, I mean, it's not crazy to someone as spiritually awakened as me, but that's sarcasm, guys, and me trying to be funny, which usually doesn't work too well. Um, Adriana, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Again, I am so honored to have you, our first woman, our first Aussie. You've been absolutely beautiful and authentic. I think you're the real deal. I know that mediums are real. I didn't talk about it because this isn't about me, but it's about you, and just your kindness and your authenticity. And sometimes I like people who use swear words as well because it doesn't make me feel so bad as well. But guys, thank you for tuning in. If you are looking to connect with your higher self, start with Adriana, especially if you're a woman here in Australia. Check her out. It's all in the description below. Adriana, thank you so much for my toolamine, for your gifts, for your time, and most importantly, for the work that you're doing to wake up people, evolve people to a higher state of consciousness. Give yourself that chance, guys. Go to your next level. All the best.
Thank you.